Mark, welcome back to the show.
Cable, good to be here, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. How's the wife and daughters?
Man, everybody's doing well. I mean, as you know, with kids, life, the days are long and the years are short. But yeah, everything's moving at warp speed. My babies are not babies anymore, and but yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, lots of activities. Summer's in full swing. All the things, right?
You have two girls. How old are they now?
They are 10 and 11. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My girls are 10 also. Have they started to take an interest in hunting? And I don't know if Wisconsin law allows them to do that yet.
So Wisconsin is pretty cool in that regard. There's no minimum age, right? So you can hunt with a mentor, at the, I guess, discretion of,
Yeah.
the parents or a good mentor. So that's really cool. Man, I'm trying not a ton of interest. I'd say a little bit more interest on the fishing side. So, yeah, my
Okay.
goal is if I can get them hooked on fishing, no pun intended there, but I'll consider that a big win.
Heck yeah. Texas is the same way. We don't have a minimum age requirement to go hunting. It's just at the parents' discretion. And the kid will tell you when they're ready, right? I mean, as long as you're not pushing it on them. Like, I don't, my son was ready at 6. The girls were 10 before they were like, I want to shoot a deer. So they each shot a deer this year, and one of them lost the deer. It was so sad. But
Oh, that's
that,
that's a bummer. But I mean, that's so cool that they are into it, and I think as it should be, right? Like it should be up to the discretion of the parents. If you wait till 12 to be able to, I guess, engage in it yourself, at that level, I think that can be too late. Like obviously you can go with your parents or with your
mhm.
mentor. You can have those experiences outside, but there's a little extra juice, a little extra skin in the game when you're the one behind the rifle or the bow or the crossbow or whatever implement. Um, it takes it to another level, and I think, man, by the time you wait till like 12, which I think is like oftentimes an average age,
Yeah.
that in states that have that stipulation, man, they're on to other activities. They're doing different sports that are
Uh-huh.
consuming their time, and they've made friend groups in those sports, which I mean they're all like super positive things, right? But you could miss out on those what I consider incredibly important and fulfilling outdoor experiences.
Yeah, I agree 100%. A lot of those kids fall through the cracks. Like Xbox, they've already become addicted to Xbox and their friend group, and like you said, club sports. I mean, all my kids play club soccer, and that is uh we're like slaves to that around here. So, I would they still like to go hunting. Would they though if they hadn't have started it, or like the girls were here's what I did from the day they were born until, well, still going on now, like September 1st, they don't go to school. They go dove hunting with me. It doesn't matter what age they were. At 1 and 2, they had on headphones, and I just said, "Here's your snacks. We'll just go as long as we can until y'all start crying." Right? I mean, but they love it, and they don't go to school that day, which is another thing. Like I I mean, what kid doesn't want to skip school to go hunting with dad?
I through that, and I think sweetening the pot is always a good idea that way to get them to go. And then oftentimes, like you said, like they go and maybe they're like, yeah, maybe their motivation actually was missing out on school, but then they realize that they had a really good time. And I one thing that I wish I would have done is more things like that. Not like, hey, do you want to go do this? Or I don't want to, like you said, you don't want to force them into having like some sort of miserable experience. But one thing that if I could turn back the clock, I'd be like, no, this is what we're doing today because
Yeah.
that's what we do. And, I mean, you are the parent or me, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, wait, who's in charge here? Who's the
Right.
parent? Be like, yeah, this is what we do. We're going fishing today, and that's what we do as a family. And I think that probably would have actually led to them, wanting to do it more. But we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. Fingers crossed, right? I'm trying to get back home to Washington in a couple weeks here. and at least drag one or two of my daughters along and go do some salmon fishing and visit family and stuff like that. So fingers
Nice.
crossed we can get that going. But
Heck yeah. Yeah, I have a photo of Henry, who he's 12 now, and he wasn't even a year old, and he's sitting in the back of the bed of the truck, and I have my lab there, a limited dove, and Henry's drinking formula out of a bottle. He's just like, yeah. So he's like, he's just always done it. I don't know. But yeah, that's great. I think more states should consider not having those restrictions because we do miss out on recruiting all those kids into the outdoors. Just give them more opportunity. Although Matt Ranella would probably have a problem with that. He would say, "We don't need those kids in the outdoors." So, uh, so how was spring for you? Two of your favorite activities are spring bear and spring turkey hunting, and I did see you don't post a lot on your social media stuff, but I saw enough to know you got into a little bit of both. So start with turkey. How was your season? Where'd you hunt? How'd it go?
man, I mean, honestly, in a lot of ways, I guess, can you ever hunt enough?
No.
No, but in a lot of ways, for me, it was as good as it gets. Went back home to Washington. Like I came to the realization that I hadn't hunted turkeys back home where I like cut my teeth hunting turkeys in about 20 years. And
Oh
I'm
wow.
just like, man, I need to. And I hunt turkeys every year, but just not there. So I went back home, hunted with my dad and my brother. We had an awesome turkey camp. Took a week off. Like I said, went back to where I started turkey hunting. Like it was my turkey hunting origin story, and just seeing the place. And a lot of it was the same. It was a little bit different. We had a slow start, and then it heated up, and golly, I think we killed, 5 birds collectively that week between my dad, my
Oh
brother,
wow.
and I. And the last morning, I was hunting with my dad. My brother had split off, and in my, I mean, this is my favorite place to hunt turkeys. We're in the mountains. It's beautiful. I mean, it's turkey country, it's deer country, elk country, bear country. Mix of whitetails and mule deer. And but there's this one spot where we've killed a lot of birds, and it's just like my favorite. It's hard to describe, but my dad and I were hunting there. I called in a 5 pack of jakes that last morning that we had to hunt. And my dad and I doubled together, and I was like that moment was like if I could have dreamt it up, drew it up. To me, like that was perfection. Like I couldn't have asked for anything more. So it was just a really neat hunt, and for me, like I was able to focus on, you know, I guess what's truly important when it comes to hunting. And it was yeah, it was great. Couldn't have gone better.
Awesome. Awesome. Some states don't even let you shoot jakes, and I I can't remember if Tennessee did when I was there. But what is important is the memory you made with your dad, not how long the turkey's beard was. So
Yeah, and I think,
the trophy's the
depend,
experience.
but I mean, and that was, like I said, anything I could have asked to get out of that experience I got. And depending on the state, I mean, they might have regulations in place where you can't shoot jakes, and I'm sure those regulations are in place for a reason, right? And so, for me, if it's legal, and like you said, and I'm getting out of the experience what I want to get out of it, which I would promote that for anybody out
Right.
there. I mean, hunting is a very personal thing. Like you said, to me, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it'd been great if a couple toms came in and we doubled on them too, but um yeah, I was. I don't know. I'm pretty equal opportunity when it comes to shooting turkeys in the face. So it's everything is
Yeah.
contextual, right? Everything is contextual, and obviously you
Sure.
have to follow the regulations that
Well,
a state
also,
has.
you're hunting. Were you hunting on public land?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then that adds another degree of difficulty, right? So to me, um,
Oh, for sure. And
yeah,
I wasn't gonna not double with my dad, who I hadn't
sure,
hunted turkeys with in 20 years, like in my favorite
yeah.
place in the world. Like that wasn't gonna not happen.
So we have 4 turkey tags on our Texas license. When you buy your license, you get, here's your 4 turkey tags. When I first got into turkey hunting about 20 years ago, I shot 3 jakes with 1 shot on complete accident. Luckily, I had 4 tags, but I,
Oh
I
my
only saw
gosh.
one. I only saw one. So there was this jake comes in. I'm like, cool. And I'm, that time I wasn't passing on any legal turkey back then. I'm just learning how to do this thing. And I shoot him, and he's flopping. And then behind the cedar tree, I hear more flopping, and I go back. There's another dead jake, and then there's another cedar tree, and I hear more flopping. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! I'm just hoping, like, please don't be a hen. And it was another jake, 3 jakes, 1 shot, and I only saw one. And it's like people say, oh, you have to know what's behind, what you're shooting. I'm like, how do you see through 2 cedar trees? I don't know. So
I
I
mean,
don't know.
hey, you know what? Hunting isn't perfect, and you you have the tag volume to accommodate
Yeah,
the situation.
right. Thankfully. So I got my first Eastern this year, and I went to Tennessee. And for 20 years, people have told me, oh, Easterns are the most wary. Easterns are the smartest. And let me tell you, Mark, they're right. They are absolutely right. Like, they did
I
not
was
give it up easy.
I was gonna say, man, I'd be surprised if you found to the contrary because yeah, I mean, I'd say the same thing. Like I didn't when I started turkey hunting, I didn't start turkey hunting Easterns, and then man, the first time I hunted Easterns was an out of state hunt in Missouri. I'm like, man, these things are tight lipped and tough.
Mm,
And we got a lot of those birds here in Wisconsin as well. But yeah, they're just a different breed of cat. They're a tough bird, and they don't give it up too easy, like you said.
yeah. I haven't taken a Merriam's or an Osceola, but if they're harder to kill than an Eastern, I'll probably just stay my ass in Texas and shoot my 4 Rios. Because that was. I mean, I'm gonna go back next year because I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. But go back to my buddy's farm in Tennessee. But I don't know. People say Merriam's might be the dumbest or Rios. Who knows? You've hunted a lot of Merriam's, so you can tell me what your take is on that.
I
Um,
mean, I think so. I've hunted Merriam's, Rios, and Easterns, and I don't know. I think Merriam's and Rios are I don't know on par with each other from what I've found.
hmm,
And like those Easterns a little bit tougher. Never shot an Osceola like you, so I don't know. Maybe I'll make my way down to Florida at some point eventually, but I don't know. I'm not a big snake guy, not a big gator guy, so
yeah.
I might stay closer to home as well.
Well, the other thing with the Osceolas is supply and demand. There's only one state you can shoot them in, and now for a turkey, it's like 3,500, $4,000. Everyone wants to
It
get their slam. Got to go to Florida to do it. So it's an expensive undertaking.
it is. That's a bit of a tough financial pill to swallow when, like you said, you can shoot multiple birds in your home state. Lot less, headache logistically. But man, that carrot of capping off your slam, it does linger out there. You're like, I should probably do that someday.
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, I remember when we were at the Ambassador Summit it was last summer. You could, like, there were spotting scopes on y'all's deck on the second floor. Dude, there's turkeys right out there in the field, right there at Vortex HQ. Pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, there's definitely some wildlife out there, and I mean, you guys hit it on the right day. They're not there every day, but yeah, you'll see the occasional deer and turkey, pass through. And
Mm,
yeah, there's not too many windows here that face that way that don't have a variety of spotters and binos at the ready to have a look at whatever you want to see out there.
yeah. How were the ticks this year? Because I had a buddy who went with me to Tennessee. I got the turkey, he got the Lyme disease.
Oh man, yeah, that's
Yeah.
I'd say, I didn't get to hunt Wisconsin all that much. Like you said, I'm very passionate about turkey hunting and spring bear hunting, so that splits my season pretty splits my time there. But I'd say overall they weren't that bad. Where I was at in Washington, I don't think I even found one on me the entire hunt. So that's always a nice thing. And I got Lyme many years ago. I had a buddy that got it this year. I mean, prevalence is super high. It sounds like your buddy got it. And that is really nasty stuff and something to be really cognizant of, watchful for if you're in the field. And even if you don't find a tick on you or buried in you, or you don't get that, classic bullseye rash, man, it does not mean that you're not going to get it. So I'd caution anybody or encourage anybody, like, if you've been out in the woods where there are ticks with, even not even abundant, but if you just like sync up the fact that, hey, I'm not feeling right, I don't feel good, and yes, I've been doing outdoor activities, go in and get checked out.
So
The
did they
worst case,
confirm that you had it? Because like my buddy, that was the thing. So I had on Josh Dalkey from Hunt Stand. He's a huge turkey hunter. He had long haul symptoms. Like he had it for years and didn't know. Would go into the doctor, misdiagnosed. Go to another clinic, misdiagnosed. One lady even told him, "I think you're on drugs." He's like, "I'm not on drugs. Something's not right with me. I don't know what it is, but I'm." He's like, "I'm not on drugs. I've never done drugs." But yeah, finally he actually had a ingrown toenail, and he was on a hunt, deer hunt somewhere. It was like, I got to go get this dealt with. So he went to a local clinic there, like 5 hours from his hometown. And the doctor, he said, "Oh, and by the way, do you care if I just ask you, pick your brain on this?" And the doctor was like, "You're a hunter, right?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm a hunter too. You have Lyme disease. I know because I had Lyme disease." So that's how he finally got the correct diagnosis, and then he was on antibiotics for 3 months because the Lyme had been in his body for so long. To whereas my buddy got it within 48 hours of finding a tick on him, which these were the first, he got bit by 2 ticks. He's more of a golfer than an outdoorsman. He was like, "These are the first 2 ticks I've ever found on me." And I'm like, dude, I told him, I said, "Don't worry about it, Dylan, you're fine. I've gotten bit by hundreds of ticks and nothing's ever happened." No, he got bit by 2 and got Lyme disease, but he caught it quickly, and within a week he was better. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the smart way to go. Don't try and tough it out or be like, "Yeah, it's probably not that." And because I say that because that's what I did, right? My story is
yeah.
very similar to your buddy's. Um, you know, got super sick, it finally passed. And several years later, I've got all this joint pain. And I
Oh,
went into the doctor for something unrelated. And my wife was like, "Hey, make sure to ask about like your joint pain when you're in there." And I mean, nearly identical story. Like, we're kind of going through some of the stuff. And he's like, "Well, hey, what do you do, recreationally?" I'm like, "Oh, I hunt and fish a lot." He goes, "We should do a limes check." And yeah, I mean, and we're talking years later, right? And he's like, "We can't really tell when you got it, but you definitely popped hot. We're going to put you on." I think I did doxycycline twice a day for like, I want to say it was only like 20 some days. So maybe I should have
uh,
done it more. I don't know. But, and then my buddy this year, he was out fishing, got bit by a handful of ticks, started not feeling good. And I'm like, and we were actually bear hunting together. I'm like, "Hey, you really need to go get a Lyme check. I mean, like, I think there's a high likelihood these things are connected." And he put it off for probably about a month and finally went in and popped hot, and they got him taken care of. So, um, I don't know, like, it's just one of those things where it's only going to hurt if you don't get it checked out. If you
yeah.
if you suspect that could be the case.
Josh told me, according to the Minnesota DNR or whatever their wildlife government or governing agency is, he told me they say that 1 in 4 deer ticks carries Lyme disease.
Wow.
Yeah, so the
Wow.
prevalence is very high. As far as I don't know. Maybe I have it, and it's just dormant. My joints sometimes hurt. I gotta go get checked out more.
I mean, it might not.
Or am I just be getting old? I don't know.
There's that too. Yeah, it's hard to distinguish, but
uh,
yeah, it's man, it's a real thing. And I think, like you said, you talk about like numbers like that, and I think a lot of people just don't know like how prevalent it is and how much on the rise. Another good friend of mine actually got Rocky Mountain spotted fever, got super sick. So
uh,
there's a lot of tick-borne illness. And I would, shameless plug for the Vortex Nation podcast. We did a really cool podcast with the guy on ticks, on tick-borne illness, super in depth. He was way dialed. So if a person is like, curious about it or wants to find out more, that could definitely be a good resource.
Yeah. Well, since that happened, I have sprayed down with permethrin every time I've gone to the deer lease or fishing since then. So ticks don't like that. You can get it in a variety of ways, but mine was just like concentrate and just mix it with water and then put it in a spray bottle. And that stuff supposedly stays in your clothing for like 10 washes or more. So use it. It's good stuff. All right, moving on to spring bear. I saw a big old pumpkin head on your Instagram page for your, you post like every 3 months. You might get one deer, one turkey, and then one bear. But I did see the bear. It was a big one.
It
Big
was,
old
yeah.
bear.
I'm on that quarterly Instagram cadence, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, bear hunting in general, just something that I really enjoy. Fall bear, up in the alpine, or spring bear in the mountains. One thing I love about spring bear is, like, man, you get to go to these just wild places. It's a optics intensive hunt. It's a physical hunt. You're knocking the dust off cabin fever. You get to carry a rifle in the spring. I mean, I'm like, what's
Mm.
not to like? And I just don't think bears get enough credit for the challenge and adventure that they represent. And yeah, went with a buddy of mine, um, and out west, and just had a really cool hunt. Didn't
Too
see.
vague. Too vague. Out west. Come on. Where'd you go?
Gable, come on, man.
We're not looking for a GPS pin. Just where did you go?
We're in the great state of Montana.
Okay.
So there you go. You pulled it out of me. But
I bear hunted in Montana one time, and I saw more grizzlies than I did black bear. Up around
so
we were up around Kalispell. You don't have to tell me where you were, but saw a lot of grizzly bears.
I mean, I believe it. I'd be curious, and I haven't hunted where they overlap in a few years now. Um, but I would wonder if I'd even want to hunt some of the areas that I
Yeah.
used to go, because number one, I'd be curious, like, how, and I don't know, like, this is speculation, but I would assume that the grizzlies have had an impact on either just, pushing black bears, maybe out of those regions, possibly even, eating cubs and things like that. But I'd be curious to know, just from a numbers perspective. I should look that up, or see if I can get into a hold of a biologist, because, but where we were at, I mean, probably some grizzlies, but it's not like super crazy. And yeah, had a great hunt. Had some gnarly weather up front. It's always interesting to be like late May and have snowstorms and things like that. And we saw sow with the cub the second morning of hunting, and I mean, this is glassing all day. And then the evening of the third or fourth day of hunting, just got lucky, and a bear popped out within range. We were actually glassing kind of this opposite hillside, and I looked like right behind us. I'm like, oh gosh, there's a bear. I'm like, quick assessment. I'm like, yep, big bear by itself. Scanned all around it, and was able to, scurry up, get my rifle ready, get my bipod out. There was actually a great place to shoot from the bipod prone position. And yeah, ended up getting this bear. And I'm not super particular on bears. Like, I just like hunting bears, and I'm looking for an
Yeah.
adult bear by itself. And this one just happened to be like an exceptionally large boar. So that was pretty cool. Good little icing on the cake there.
Was it the biggest one you've killed?
I've probably shot a bigger bear in Alaska, but I'd say that it definitely rivaled like any bear that I've killed for sure. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I guess I didn't put an official tape on it or anything like that yet. I'll get the skull back eventually, but I'd be curious. Like, I mean, I think it's definitely in the 19 plus range for sure.
Would you know how to score it, or is there someone at Vortex HQ that is like the guy that does all of the Boone and Crockett measurements?
Um, I've just had a couple. I guess one time I had a biologist. They like, I guess, green scored it because they had to take that measurement on one of the Alaska
Uh,
bears that I shot when I checked it in. And then I figured I'd just ask the taxidermist. It's pretty simple. I mean, I think it's just like a length and width. You know,
hmm.
so but yeah, like I said, I'm like, it's more of a just like a cool thing, I guess, that it was a big one.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I'm not like some sort of like holding out for a big bear. Like I said, I'm looking for an adult bear by itself, and this one just happened to be a big one. So
I have one buddy who is that guy. We went coos deer hunting in Sonora, Mexico. My buddy Sawyer, as soon as the cape was off of my deer, he's taping, he's scoring it. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, yeah, we got to know what it is exactly. I'm like, it's a nice mature deer. Who really cares? Like, I don't, to me, and it's a coos deer, so it's like 112 inches is a monster. I'm like, who cares, man?
yeah,
Uh, you know, but some people are like that, and some people want to put stuff in the record books, and I'm just not that way. Kind of more like you. Just, is it mature? Okay. Oh, if you shoot something in the 160s, yeah, you probably don't want to know what it is, right? But I
it's
would just
more of
say,
just like a curiosity thing,
right.
just like you're like, I wonder what that is,
But I'll
and
tell you who scores mine, the taxidermist. So I'm never in a rush. Like when they get around to it, they'll just send it to me
yeah.
if I want to know. But um, now, like you just said, you enjoy the Western style spot and stalk, a lot of time behind the glass. That's bear hunting in Mark's world. Have you ever done a baited hunt?
So I hunted over bait a little bit. Actually, we did kind of a combo hunt in Idaho with another really good buddy of mine. And he had some baits going, so we'd sit those in the evenings, and then the rest of the day we'd kind of bounce around in glass and spot and stock. And um, yeah, wasn't able to capitalize on it, but actually our best opportunity came on the spot and stock side. I did see a sow with two cubs that came into the bait, but that's the only thing
Mm.
that came into the bait. But it was um it was interesting because I was like, am I gonna like bait hunting? I hadn't done it before. And dude, it was like super exciting,
Yeah.
and I could definitely see, particularly if you were the person putting in the work and getting the bait going and having your cameras going and maintaining that. And it's a cool way to hunt. You can be super selective, obviously, and get to know the bears that are hitting your bait. So I also think that there's probably not a more time or labor intensive if you are going to do it yourself. Like I think some people are like going, oh, that's that's cheating, and I'm just like, part of the reason why I don't do that style of hunting is because I don't have the time,
Mm-hmm.
to do it. So it's like I said, it's a time and labor intensive endeavor, but it can pay off, and I think it's a lot more exciting than people give it credit for.
You should try having like, I don't know, 10 deer feeders across 3 properties and filling feeders in 105-degree Texas summer heat. Like people bitch about, oh, you hunt over a feeder, that's cheating. I'm like, okay, well, it's a management tool for us. Like we don't have the massive public land in Texas. We do want to selectively harvest our deer, and you're going to find them in agriculture. If you have that on your field, you're going to find them at a feeder, especially in South Texas. I challenge anybody, especially bow hunters. They're like, I could come down to Texas and shoot a 180. Yeah, okay. Come down to Texas without a feeder, and you will never even, you know what you're going to see? The ass end of a white-tailed deer as it blows at you and runs off in the mesquites. That's what you're going to see. So it's it's all about where you were raised, kind of, and how you were brought up in hunting. I like it all. I don't care. But I've also mark hunted in Pike County, Illinois, and they the outfitter buys X bushels of soybean from the farmer and says, "Don't touch this." Maybe it's 20 acres, and then he manipulates it as hunters come in, knocks it down. Dude, I'm sitting there with a muzzleloader. I could shoot any deer in that soybean. Any deer. I'm looking at like 30 deer. It's just a giant feeder. It's just a different way of doing it. So, but yeah, going back to what you said, moving feeders around, filling feeders when it's 105 degrees, like I could show you how sweaty I was, how many ticks are out there. It's not that fun. It's a lot of work. Maybe not as much as
Yeah.
hauling in bear bait on public land, but it's a lot of work. Uh,
Oh, for sure. And like we said earlier, like everything's contextual and everything is regional, right? And
yeah.
uh, what a person grows up, whether it's a method or a practice, whatever you want to call it, where they grew up, like that's hunting to them, and that's their normal, and that's cool.
Mm.
And I think it's cool as a hunter for me to go to their places and experience, like what they grew up with. I mean, I think it
Mhm.
just broadens the scope of your experience and your perception and understanding of hunting as a whole and how game behaves in different areas. And I don't know, like you said, it's all cool to me. I like it all.
Well, and you mentioned the trail cameras. Running cameras is also a big part of that. It's super fun. Getting to like wake up in the morning. I say a little prayer, and then I look at my trail camera. Like I start look. What does Stealth Cam have for me today? I've got like 20 of the damn things out. So, uh, yeah, it's always fun. It's like Christmas every morning. Um, so you have hunted over bait. You enjoyed it. Why I was asking specifically about that is I don't know if you've heard about HR 4422. This is a House bill introduced in Congress by Democrats. They are always the first ones to introduce anti-hunting legislation. Republicans, a little squeamish on public lands. Thankfully, we won that fight. But yeah, the Don't Feed the Bears Act of 2025 would ban bear baiting on all federal land, and that's been proposed. So I don't know if you've heard about that. A lot of it hasn't really made the headlines, but we're trying to get the word out because you can email your elected officials and say, hey, this is we're not down with this as hunters, as conservationists. But I didn't know if you'd heard about it or not.
So, I mean, I haven't. And when did this pop up then? How long have you been aware of
Two
this?
weeks. 2 weeks. It was out.
Okay.
Yeah, I just found out about it last week. So we're recording on August 6th. I found out about it on like the 3rd and immediately researched it, made a post on it. But yeah, it was proposed like I think July 25th, something like that.
So no, I haven't heard about it. And yeah, I'll be digging into that myself a little bit. I mean, it sounds pretty ridiculous to me. And what was it called again? HR.
HR 4422. Yeah.
Interesting.
The Don't
And
Feed
their
the Bears Act of 2025.
and their reasoning behind this was,
They don't like hunting. No, I
oh,
mean, if you
okay.
read like so they have the usual, Wayne Pacell, the former head of Humane Society. Now he works at he's no longer there. Where's Wayne work now? I wrote it down. The let's see. He works. I'll find it. But basically, the thinking is they're claiming that it increases human bear conflicts. Going back to what you said, the guys that haul bait in on public land for bears, they're not doing it on this in the suburbs. They are going. Wayne Pacell and his soy latte drinking cronies are never going where these guys are baiting. These bears don't see people.
No, yeah, that's super interesting. Like I'd say, that's a thinly veiled attempt at just curtailing hunting in general, a very agenda based thing that's disguised as something else. Like you said, I mean, where people are baiting bears, number one, I'd look at like essentially, is that a traditional use practice in that area? Likely it is. That's an easy target for people who are opposed to hunting in general. You can twist it. It's more easily twisted to the public who are maybe less or not familiar with hunting at all. And yeah, I mean, where these guys are baiting bears, like I'd say we'll point to the data that there have been a ton of negative interactions directly related to it, and I don't think you're going to find it.
No, you're not. Animal wellness action. That's where Wayne calls home now. So, yeah, it's just a whole animal rights, attempt to end bear baiting on federal land. Do you know how many states allow bear baiting?
Man, in the lower 48, golly, I actually don't know.
12 states allow baiting. 7 allow it on federal land. So you have Wyoming, Alaska, Idaho, Michigan, Minnesota, Utah, and Wisconsin all allow barrel style baiting on federal land. All right. So Somebody told me, they said, this was a hunter. He was like, well, they should just make it illegal anyway. Very few states even allow it. I'm like, seven? Seven's quite a few. 12 allow baiting, seven on federal land. That's a lot. And then I don't understand, Mark, hunters that would so blindly give up their right. Another guy said, this was on Instagram when I posted, he was like, who cares, man? Like, based off of your rationale, why don't we just allow deer baiting on federal land? And I was like, oh, as a Texan, that sounds like a great idea. No, I don't want baiting of deer on federal land. Personally, I like the spot and stalk nature of it, but with bears, it's a management tool. And that's what people don't realize. Like, I've shot 2 bears over bait. I've shot 1 spot and stalk, and I've shot 1 with dogs. So I've done it every way. The baiting for me was the most exciting because I got to see more bears, and I got to know which bears were big bears. And that was the first bear hunt I ever did. And it's a great management tool because you think about folks getting dropped off. So outfitters drop off novice bear hunters like I was, and they're like, if it's on this rung of the barrel, don't shoot it. If it's on this one, it's a mid-sized bear. If it's this one, don't you dare pass it up. You know? So it was a great tool for me. And that was actually in Alberta. It wasn't even relevant to the lower 48, but
Right, right. But yeah, I mean, you generally have more time. You have time to assess the bear itself. You've got time to assess, does it have cubs? You've got time to wait for a really good shot angle, which I'd say, more so for bow hunting. That's obviously
yeah.
incredibly
Well,
important.
it's great for bow hunters too. And I shot one of those bears with the bow.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and you're having this up close, experience with these amazing animals. It's a great hunt for newer hunters. Yeah, I mean, there's so many pluses, and for me, with a lot of the stuff, it comes down to like, regionally, maybe the landscape isn't conducive to other forms of hunting. Like, I know we're talking about the lower 48 here, but I don't, in a lot of these areas in Canada, like, I don't think you're going to really spot and stalk bears, right? It's
oh
really
my
thick
gosh,
book.
no! I was in the boreal forest. There, you're not going to spot and stalk a bear in there. There's no
No,
way.
and there's regions of the US like northern Wisconsin, like, that's going to be very similar, right? So everything's contextual. I'd look at it predominantly from the resource perspective. Can it sustain, X amount of harvest, and
Mm,
then just base the regulations off of that.
yeah. Um, but going back to that, you know, what the guy said about allowing the baiting of deer on federal land, to me, it's a different conversation. And that's why I said I don't know why hunters are so willing. Just because they don't do it, why are they willing to give up their rights? You're never going to get those back. So if they were to pass this, which I don't think it's going to pass, right? That's worth talking about because when someone says they want to do this, they've already introduced the bill, so they damn sure want to do it. And we need to be on top of those things. But the difference is we already have this right. We don't have the right to bait deer on federal land. And I'm not like taking up a sword to go fight that battle. I don't care. That's not important to me. What's important to me is protecting what we already have. So when you're so just oblivious to that, like it's the same thing with the Second Amendment, which you said in our conversation before we started recording. Like, if you give an inch, they're going to take a mile. And to willingly be like, yeah, we should, as a hunter, I agree with the Wayne Purcells of the world. Like, no, you're on the wrong side of the argument if that's your stance.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to just being informed, and that goes for people in the hunting community and people outside of it. But be informed, like we talked about earlier. Just because you don't hunt a certain way or like to hunt a certain way, or maybe that's not how people hunt where you predominantly live or pursue game yourself, it doesn't mean that it's not relevant or extremely important to other people and where they live. My home state of Washington, I want to say early 90s, they outlawed, baiting for bears, and really it was just a public sentiment thing. They have plenty of bears. It could, it's a very sustainable resource. Um, you know, Even to this day, you know, it's always a contentious subject in that state. Just bear hunting in general. We lost our spring season. Um,
Well, you can thank Seattle and uh, well, mostly Seattle for that. It's like
right.
it's just like Denver and Boulder trying to screw up Colorado. Uh,
but but you're taking away these traditional seasons that the you're pulling the opportunity, not based on any sort of science. In
right.
fact, you've got fish and game departments who are saying no, this, like, the resource can sustain this harvest, we should still have the spring hunt. I mean, I think this is actually a really great example, the Washington one, because um it the spring hunt was on a draw. It was very not very many tags handed out. Don't quote me, but I think about 150 some bears were harvested. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, compared to the overall fall harvest, a drop in the bucket, right?
Hmm.
So it was just this really cool opportunity on a draw, very highly managed. I think that's another thing people don't realize is how closely and tightly we manage our big predators. When I shoot a deer, I don't have to check it in, right? Like in the state of Montana, like I don't have to physically go check it in. They do some phone survey type stuff, but you've got to tag it. You have to call it in, and then you have to physically check that bear in. And they're pulling a tooth, and they're taking measurements, and
Hmm.
and they're doing all their things. So like they're very very tightly managed, and like I said, they took away that spring hunt in Washington, which that state has actually traditionally been a two bear state in the fall anyway. So there's plenty of bears. So again, we're making decisions based on not based on science and biology, and
Yeah.
I think that
Well,
is a
it's that's the
very
left
dangerous
wing
path.
political agenda. And the problem is these governors get to appoint the wildlife commissioners. And that's I mean, I've followed Washington's deal very closely. There's a lady on there that when this girl got attacked by a mountain lion, she tried to make it the parents' fault that the kid was in the mountain lion's area. And she's going to go down. There's a lot of emails that have been uncovered by Sportsmen's Alliance. Big scandal. And I think her head is going to roll. But like same thing. I shot a mountain lion in Colorado in the spring with hounds, and they don't have that spring season anymore. Again, Democrat governor. Let's reintroduce wolves. Very animal rights activist agenda going on there, and it's because you put these people on the it's the commissioners really that are making the decisions, but they're appointed again by the governor. And yeah, and Colorado lost that spring dry ground season. This is a bummer. But just like baiting is a great management tool for bears, are also a great management tool for cougars and for bears, because you can age and sex the cats. And um, yeah, have you ever hunted with hounds?
So I haven't. I really want to. Again, you want to talk about somebody that puts the time and the work into
Mm.
their craft. Man, that is a hound hunter, and the hound hunters that I have met, I mean, they are dog people. They love their dogs, um, and it is just the it's like the cat or the bear. I mean, that is like the North Star vehicle that allows them to pursue what their passion truly is, and that's
Mm.
dogs and hunting behind
Yeah.
dogs and training dogs. Um, it's a really cool thing to talk about with those guys, and I guess I've only seen it in person, like on videos, but it still translates through, and it's to me it's a truly beautiful thing and an art. And I think, again, it's one of those things that on the surface can be easily twisted, um, to to present a narrative, from the anti-hunting agenda community. But man, hound hunting is very cool and
It,
very intimate for sure.
it's so ironic because they're emotionally driven argument against towns, uh, there is no better management tool. Like, you want hunters to shoot the right mountain lion, the right bear. Well, hounds gives you that. I mean, I saw it firsthand. I could not believe how close my houndsman got up in that tree with the mountain lion. He's like, "Oh, it's a female," and we were able to let 4 mountain lions go before we finally shot the right one because of hounds.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's awesome,
I was like,
right?
"Wayne, you're getting a little too close to the mountain lion." He's like, looked at me like, "I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. I know how close I can get to the mountain lion. You stupid Texan, shut your mouth."
Well, and then, you
He
bring
didn't
up,
say that, but I could see it in his eyes. That's what he was trying to say to me.
yeah, and we've probably even talked about this before, but, even the hypocrisy within the hunting community, like a person might be like, man, I don't think you should be able to hunt, bears or cougars with hounds. But then that same person is, behind their Springer with, an over under or side by side shotgun, pursuing their gentleman's activity. It's like, well, I mean,
Hmm.
you're
I'm
pursuing
I'm
game with a
getting
dog.
like I all I see right now is Ryan Bussey's face.
But like, so like, I think people, really need to think through, entirely, like, what they're saying when they're like, oh, that's, I see that as, not fair chase or something like that. And yet,
You just put up a covey of quail with your Springer.
right.
What's the difference? It's just different strokes for different folks.
And then
Uh,
there's, definitely a constituent of people that say, exactly, we shouldn't be able to do any of these things. And I'm like, well, you're in 100% entirely incorrect.
yeah. So some exciting new stuff to get into today. We've got the new Vortex Ranger HD 3000. Now, Graham might get mad at me because I've had this sitting in the office for a little bit of time, and maybe he thinks I should have gotten it out and played with it, but I thought it would be better to unbox it live during our conversation. So we're going to get the old Havalon out here. Have you ever cut yourself with the Havalon?
Yeah, I have multiple times. They're pretty sharp.
It's one of those cuts that, like, when you do it, it doesn't really hurt, and then there's just blood everywhere.
Yeah, it's more of like an intuition. You're like, I think I just, yep. In fact, I came into the shop one day. This was several years ago, and I'd been working on a deer the day before, and had about 3 different bandages on the tips of my
Oh,
fingers. And
yeah.
Ryan Muckenhern was the first guy I ran into, and I just go, I'm off the Havalon, which I didn't mean to say. Actually, I still use it, but that day I definitely was a little bit over it.
Yeah. I've done it in the backcountry, and that was a little bit. Thank goodness somebody had a medical kit. Not that it was a terrible. I mean, I didn't need stitches or anything, but they just bleed a lot.
Oh yeah, they're sharp
I
for
was pinning
sure.
a
And
mule deer in New Mexico and did that. All right, so the new Ranger HD 3000 10 by 42. We're gonna pull this bad boy out. So talk about the evolution first, because this is not the first range-finding bino that Vortex has put out. I think the first one. Let's see if I have it here. The first was actually the Fury, was it not?
so yeah, which it
Oh,
would have been
there's
the
the
Fury
Fury.
HD 5000, right? Yeah, you got a
Yeah.
set right
Uh huh.
there. Very cool binocular. But yeah, cable. I mean, golly, I've been at Vortex going on 17 years right now, which is hard to believe. But I can tell you, for
Again, we're
many of
getting
those,
old.
I know, right? For many of those first years, one of the most common questions we got was, when are you coming out with the range-finding binocular? When are you coming out with the range-finding binocular? And we did that with the Fury, and it's an incredible unit. And now we're debuting the Ranger HD 3000 binocular, which, as the name denotes, 3,000 yards. It's got a 3,000 yard reflective ranging capability. We're looking at about 1,500 yards on game. But man, just the overall performance, convenience, paring down of kit, not having to transition between your binoculars and a handheld rangefinder, which I still use handheld rangefinders a ton, right? They
Uh-huh.
have their place in my kit, but man, what you get with a rangefinding binocular as far as features and performances is undeniable, and I don't think in a lot of situations there's probably a better tool.
I don't. I tend to still use the traditional rangefinder if I'm bow hunting, and then I use these if I'm rifle hunting. That's typically what I do anyway. But
Yeah,
there's no wrong or right way to do it.
there's not, but like you said, rifle hunting, golly, particularly I'd say with the popularity and rise of folks who are capable of extending their effective range in the field, the ability to either range it yourself, with the magnification and field of view of a binocular. I think there's definitely
There we go.
um, a level of precision that you get with knowing,
Mhm.
yep, that's exactly what I ranged. And then when you're hunting in a like a partner scenario where like maybe you're on the gun and I'm like, hey, Cable, he's at 350, 375. Okay, he's at 425. Okay, he just turned. Kill him. You can be getting that information, dialing your turret, focusing solely on the shot. And then for me, I never had to transition between my binoculars and rangefinder to give you that information. We're saving time. And then I can spot your shot too. I can be like, hey, you know what? You missed. Oh, you hit him. Perfect. Oh, you hit him a little bit far back. I'm going to need to know. Now I know we're going to have to wait a little bit on this thing. I never have to leave my binoculars to tell you, man, he ran into the woods right by that tree. That's going to be our starting point, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. The long range stuff I really have seen and started to get into in Africa. Um, I mean, there's guys that just go and only shoot long range. They don't want to shoot if it's not 500 yards or further. They're not interested.
Interesting.
Yeah. And but they take a lot of pride in the skill that they've mastered over just thousands of rounds downrange. I don't have that capability to do it like that. I'm not shooting something at 1,000 yards. 600, 700 with the turrets that, you guys, now that Vortex does custom turrets matched specifically to your bullet for your caliber, it's getting easier for the average guy. I don't know if that's good or bad, really, for hunting. You know, is that what we want to be doing, shooting stuff at 700 yards? I don't know. I'm not opposed to it, but I think that there is like a little bit of an ethics question there. Um, but I think the main thing is did you practice? Do you do you have the expertise to pull the shot off? Because what we don't want to do is increase the number of animals that we're wounding. First and foremost, right? I mean, that's crap. So if you're going to take that shot, you better be confident in it. But technology, like stuff that Vortex is putting out, it does afford that opportunity if you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least part of my hunting journey and a lot of people's, you want to get better at your craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's never been a better time to have better equipment to help you with that. Like you said, yeah, I mean, it starts with the equipment. You better have a rifle that shoots straight, and then and then the optics to do it, and the technology to do it. Be it a like something like our Ranger. Excuse me, I should say like the Ranger HD 3000, or if you're using like a handheld, like our Razor GB 4000, which spits out your ballistic solution in the field of view of the rangefinder, tells you exactly what to dial.
Right.
Um, and so if you have the tools and the experience, right, and the capability to execute that shot, I think it's a really cool thing. And I'd say by and large, right? Like I'm never gonna personally advocate for taking a long range shot for the sake of taking a long range shot.
Mm-hmm.
But by gall, it's a nice tool to have in my toolbox when I'm in the field. And I guess I can case in point. Excuse me, I was on a bear hunt last fall, I think it was the morning of day 5 of a pretty strenuous backpack hunt up in the mountains. And we got an opportunity on the very last morning of the hunt. It was one of those situations where you were either going to take the shot or you weren't. And so, but I had the tools, the practice, and the conditions, right? The environmental conditions. There wasn't a breath of wind in the air. Was able to take, what I would consider a long range shot on game, got the bear. And so you could be like, well, from an ethics perspective, I'm like, dude, this was one of the toughest, most strenuous, most
Right.
physical hunts of my life. So I certainly don't feel like I missed out on anything. And all my practice and workup of my equipment on the front end, I was able to see that pay off as well.
Yeah. So I guess one thing I've seen firsthand, and I shot a kudu at over 600 yards summer before this. Um, the wind was not doing the same thing where the kudu was as it was where I shot. We shot from down in a valley up onto a steep ridge over 600 yards away. Well, I hit him far back. I ended up being able to shoot him again and put him down, but my PH was like, "Oh my gosh, that's not the wind that we called." Like, like, well, how the hell do you know what the wind's doing over there? You know, in the mountains, it's notorious for swirling, changes directions in a heartbeat. I mean, anyone that's elk hunted knows that, as the bull just runs away from you before you are ever in the game. But I don't know. That's how do I? That's like my hang up with it is how do I know that the wind is doing the same thing there that it is here?
I'm and there's definitely folks that are really good at reading wind and have, different things that they, visual cues and tools that they use to gauge wind and make their wind calls.
Like on a flat prairie, like say you're shooting a pronghorn, it doesn't matter. The wind, the wind's going to be doing it's consistent. But the mountains are so tricky.
Yeah, I mean the mountains are tricky, and yeah, I mean, and even on a flat range here, like we can shoot to, I want to say, I don't know, it's about 1050 thereabouts. But we'll have wind flags out there, and you'll look at the wind flag at the 100-yard mark, and it's going this way, and then at the 400-yard mark, it's going the other way, and you're also looking at the grass in between, and you're like, oh man, this is what I'm feeling right now. Maybe here's what I'm measuring with my wind meter right now, but you can see different things happening downrange. The mirage is boiling a certain way, and I've had, shots where you're like, man, by the end of the day, I'm just going to hold straight up and execute the shot. And it
Right. Yeah.
almost like evens out in the end.
Yeah. Just send it. So I do want to ask you this. So we've got the OGs, the Furies right here, and we've got the new Ranger 3000. So why is the housing different? So obviously the Ranger's more sleek, it's longer, same magnification. So I will say the new one feels lighter. This one feels a little heavier, the old Fury here. But yeah, talk a little bit about the design. And I know you don't design these things yourself, but you obviously have some insight there.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully we have a crack squad and the project development team to do all the optical design, industrial design, things like that. And yeah, I mean, I guess the short answer there is I don't know, but I would think that it boils down to just the optical system and then building an appropriate housing around it. But yeah, from a industrial design form factor, man, they're to me they're very streamlined, they're very sleek. Like you said, they're not coming in they're not super heavy. I think they're 32.4 ounces, right? So you consider that you're combining two pieces of kit. I think that's a really good weight there. Like I said, aesthetically super sleek, very intuitive with the menu and the buttons there. um, Overall, just a really, really great unit. Optically, they do a really, really nice job. And for a range finding binocular, street price, you're going to see these come in at about $7.99, I believe. So, not definitely a chunk of change, but when you consider that you're getting a really good binocular with an integrated rangefinder, I'd say one of the more reasonable opportunities out there for sure.
Yeah, and besides that, if I break it, you guys will replace it. So,
That is true. I mean, we try to build our stuff so a person never needs the Vortex VIP warranty, but it is there if you need it. And like you said, I mean, it is truly an unconditional, lifetime transferable, no fault, no paperwork to fill out warranty. Like if you're a Vortex customer, we're going to take care of you.
yeah. So my tracker, David, my good friend, and now keep in mind, David is a tracker in South Africa. David is not a very wealthy guy, so a pair of Vortex binoculars is something that's very important to him. It's also a piece of his what he does for a living. He needs those because he's also a glasser. I mean, that's what he's helping you find the animals, whether it's tracking them, glassing them. His fell off the side of the mountain, and that's not the first pair of Vortex binos that have ever done that. And when I went back last summer, David was, hey, look what happened, and they're destroyed. And I was like, don't worry, we're gonna get you fixed. So this summer, I took him a brand new pair, sent you guys those ones, brought them back to the States, sent them to you. You guys sent me a new one, said, here, give this to David. David squared away in South Africa with the VIP lifetime, no questions asked warranty. It's the best. It truly is. So I've tried to break y'all stuff. I mean, this sounds bad, but when you're in this industry, and let's be honest, I don't pay full price for this stuff. Some of it just shows up at the door. And for that reason, I don't feel like, I think I'm a good person for you guys to send it to because I don't take care of it like I spent my own money on it. And it's still, Mark, I still can't break this stuff. So, if there's someone that's going to break it, it's going to be me because I don't take care of it like I spent my hard-earned $800 on it. Terrible thing to say out loud, but it's true.
I mean, yeah, I'd say, yeah, that is true. And then
you get it all for free. So like, you probably don't take care of it. Like if you have to go buy a new rifle, you're probably going to baby that thing, right? Or my truck or something that I was like, man, that costs a lot of money. But when you work there and you get it for free, yeah, it's just like human nature. It's like, it is what it is.
I think that is a human nature thing for sure. But when you look at it, I mean, the bottom line is when it comes to, hunting optics or optics that fall within the more, military, law enforcement, tactical realm, you're not using these things in friendly environments. I mean, these are rugged, nasty conditions, multiple weather conditions. I mean, it's impossible to baby them at the same time, right? If you're going to baby them, then you'd throw it in the safe and you just never go do the things that you're passionate about or you're doing for work and we get that, right? Like we understand that we are not putting these things in in like super mellow conditions. Like they're living a very rough life, but we appreciate our customers. We want to help our customers out, and we want them to enjoy their optics to the fullest potential. And so, yeah, if you ever have an issue, I mean, we will take care of it. Like that is, and when I mean a no questions asked warranty, like if you've got the pieces, even if it was your fault, we're gonna help you out.
Yeah, I'll give you just an idea of how my stuff rides to the deer lease because I think a lot of guys put it in a gun case, and it like they would travel with on an airplane if you were taking a rifle. No, my front seat, passenger side, usually has between 4 and 6 rifles, just no case, all the scopes just banging against each other. Usually I put a towel over the seat to protect the leather, but that's the extent of it. And then they just go, and they always shoot straight. Optics never have an issue. They might get a little scratched up. My Vortex scopes they don't look like safe queens, and they're not. But they take a beating and they keep on performing.
Well,
thankfully Texas doesn't have a law. Like I when I was mountain lion hunting in Colorado, gun has to be in the locked safe for transport, and it can't be loaded and all this crap. I'm like, we just roll around hot. If there's a coyote, it's getting shot.
Wisconsin used to have similar regulations to that, and actually in almost like a shocking, usually you don't see stuff like that kind of like take a step back. And that's one thing that took, I mean, you still can't have a loaded firearm, but like it doesn't have to be cased. And they actually even had a law for a long time where your bow had to be cased. And I'm like,
what?
Yo, like that seems like a little extreme.
So would a soft case count for that? Or did it have to be like okay.
Yeah, like a soft case for either would, like I think I even knew people that had like for their long guns that like it was almost like a gun sock that sufficed. At least that's what they were doing. I don't know if that actually satisfied the regulations or not. But yeah, so it's like, I mean, it's not going to go. Yeah. Anyway, but
well, right on. So yeah, y'all check it out. It's the new Ranger 3000 HD 3000, 10 by 42, coming in at under $800. Handy dandy, two pieces of your kit right there, and a great bino as well as a laser rangefinder. So cool stuff, Mark. I appreciate the time as always, my friend. Last question: what tags did you draw for this fall? What are
Oh
your
man.
plans?
So yeah, got a couple good ones. I've got a Montana General elk tag. So gonna go archery hunt elk. It's been a couple years since I've been able to do that. And then oddly enough, I got an opportunity to hunt Scotland, and so gonna
Oh,
go head to
red
the
stag?
Red Stag and the Scottish Highlands. So
Heck yeah!
yeah, it's just going to be really cool. I would encourage anybody to look up the region, like at least from what I can tell, from the interweb, like it almost has like alpine of Kodiak vibes. So I'm really excited to chase the animal itself, but the landscape I was like super drawn to it, and it just looks like a really amazing place with a lot of history. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, free range. Just the stags there aren't known for their antler size, like I think they're as far as,
Yeah,
in the
if you're
world of,
picturing New Zealand, that's not what this is. This is an experience.
yeah.
Yeah, this
And,
is.
but it's the experience, and I said, to each their own, like it's the experience that I'm looking for. I'm looking to hunt the
Yeah,
place and
I've
hunt,
researched this
the
a little
place.
bit. I'm excited for you. That's one that I definitely want to do. Are you going to
I'll
go
give,
to some castles? I know a guy that stayed in a castle when he did this hunt. Um,
yeah. I mean, I'll hopefully get to, bounce around a little bit and see some of the countryside and see some of the sights.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, it looks like a really cool place.
I'm
And,
jealous. That's going to be awesome.
yeah, I'll give you a full report. You'll
Yeah.
probably be headed straight over there, I imagine.
I think that's one I would. So my wife doesn't like to go on my hunting trips because they're not littered with excursions and touristy crap. It's business. I'm going. I got something I need to accomplish, and that's what it is. Now, Scotland, I think she might be more interested in doing that. We're talking about going to Spain to hunt ibex too, like a couples trip, and that now she's getting, and the kids are getting older. That's a big part of it too. So she's starting to be like, I might want to do that. But I don't know. Does your wife ever accompany you?
So she doesn't, and I'd say, but she doesn't have a big interest in hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like a lot of hunts are, they're a grind, right? They're more fun when it's over than possibly even while
I
you're
think our
doing it,
wives
right?
half the time think we're insane for what we do.
Yeah,
This doesn't sound fun to most people.
but the like that Spain hunt that you're talking about, I think that blends hunting as well as like the quotation mark vacation type
Yeah,
component, and I think the Scotland hunt potentially could as well. So I'm going to use it as as a scouting mission a
yeah,
little bit and be like, oh, maybe this lends itself to a trip where you can kind of combine the hunt as well as the the travel and the vacation and those sorts of things.
yeah. Well, and our kids are all about the same age, and that's a big part of it too. Mamas don't want to leave their babies,
Yeah,
so yeah. Well, right on, my friend. I look forward to seeing how that adventure plays out. I burned my Colorado mule deer point, so that's my big western hunt for this coming year.
that's a big deal, man.
No, first week of November, yeah, rifle hunt. So I think I had 8 points, and my buddy had 6. So fortunately, you go in with 6. But the folks over at Hunting Fool, I told them, hey, here's our situation, and they said, here's where you need to go. I said, okay. So yeah, we're gonna go give that a whirl, and then because Colorado's changed their law, and I think it goes into effect in 2027, 2028. But your points are only going to be worth half of what they were because half of the allotted tags are going to go to random draw. So you better burn those points if you've got them stacked up in Colorado. So I think I have 9 elk points. So next year we're going to burn those.
That'll be interesting too, because I'm sure a lot of people who have just been holding on to their points, me included,
Mm-hmm.
are I think draw odds may have just gone down.
Big time. Well, by half, by half. So, and I don't, you know what? Personally, I don't have a problem with that. It sucks for all of us that have been building points, but I don't really have an issue with a random draw for. I wish maybe New Mexico could do it like that. Colorado does because New Mexico is just straight draw. And I'm telling you, I've drawn elk 4 times in New Mexico. I've got a lot of folks in New Mexico, including guides, that are pissed at me because I've drawn more tags than they have. You know,
I
it's
mean,
like,
that is lucky, and well, I mean, for the Colorado thing though, like I think a lot of people like, yeah, your odds are going to go down after that goes in place, but you're going to have a lot of more people putting their name in the hat for, the limited tags already just,
mhm,
next in the next couple of years. So that'll be interesting to watch. I mean, I'll probably have to
mhm,
throw my name in the hat too and see what shakes out. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there's an easy button solution to any of these point systems. I think they're all broken in various ways. I wish we probably never would have started any of them and everything was just a random draw, but here we are. And there's still a couple states. There's still a couple states that I think are doing it, pretty darn right. And New Mexico and Idaho are, in my opinion, at the top of the list. But
mhm, mhm. Well, right on, my friend. I appreciate the time as always. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll catch up sometime in the fall.
no, sounds great, man. Always great chatting. Appreciate the time. And yeah, we'll catch up here shortly when we get to tell
Start
the
stacking
stories
some
of our
bodies.
hunt.
All right, man. Take care.
Yep. Thanks, Cable. Bye.